What's going on, YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're talking about Batman, Catwoman, the Gotham War Battle Lines, Issue 1. That's right, we're starting another event. Did you think we were done after finishing Night Terrors? No, we're starting the next little 2-month event right here. But to be fair, this is only like 8 issues, so it's not like the worst thing in the world compared to where we were at before. But still, like, immediately after Night Terrors, like, this issue takes place immediately after the ending of that, so spoilers, I guess, for that comic book, if you will. So yeah, another event starting. It's exactly what we need. I'm just kind of event fatigued, but this one, compared to the one I just covered, it's not going to be all that bad, all things considered. But still, I think we could have used a little bit of a break. But hey, you know what? It's DC. They got to keep shoving out more event after event. So yes, this one is going to be a Batman and Catwoman focused event. The two of them are going to finally be in conflict, and despite the setup and kind of the logic going on into like what Selina's doing and some of the Bat family members kind of going along with her ridiculous plan, I am happy to see that Batman and Catwoman are going to be at odds and kind of fighting for once, because after that Tom King Batman run, I really grew to dislike those two as a couple, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm kind of sick of it at this point. Like, I'm feeling like Dr. Serizawa in Godzilla 2014. Let them fight. That's kind of where I'm at with this thing. But anyway, so the story this time around is, if you read Night Terrors or if you saw my previous video, Batman at the end of that event reached peak exhaustion, and then he ended up in like a coma or some like a deep sleep for 8 weeks. So he's been out of commission for 2 solid months. In his dream state, you had the Batman and Zero stuff kind of in the back of his mind, kind of trying to take over, but he hasn't kind of locked up. Still never liked the Zero stuff. I just feel like they just was really kind of unnecessary. And then they're like, hey, you're finally awake or whatnot. Also, I completely forgot that Batman lost his hand. But then again, when you've been like covering nothing but Night Terrors for like 2 solid months, you kind of forget some of the stuff that happened beforehand. So like I said, if you skip Night Terrors, you're not going to really miss much, all things considered. Like you would have been pretty good to save your time and money. So yeah, he's off doing his thing. Gotham City's kind of changed in the 2 months he's been away, because Selina Kyle has had the brilliant idea of training criminals to become better criminals so they can steal. But like, her logic is kind of insane when you get to it. So anyways, but it kind of like brought down like some crime by, I guess, 75% for whatever statistics. All the major players in Gotham are kind of off to the side doing their own thing. She's basically been training criminals to become better criminals so they can instead only steal from the rich, and they're going to give some of that money to charity. So it's ultimately a good thing, at least according to her, to kind of stop some of the petty crime. They're like, oh, I'm going to train you to be like really high class fighters and all this other stuff, which is totally going to backfire in her face, as I can tell you like straight up. But anyway, so Bat family members greet him, and then Selina calls for a meeting between the various members of the Bat family and herself. So you have Duke, you have Cass, you have Dick, you have Babs, you have Kate, you have Damian and Steph actually sitting at a table and interacting for once. Like, my goodness, like, it's been so long. Like, why aren't those two like on the same page more often? So anyways, Bruce comes to town. Damian, who, mind you, was pretty like sad when his father went into the whole like 2 months under, like, isn't like jumping for joy to see him or whatever. He's like, father, enjoy your nap. But then again, he's kind of ticked off about this whole thing. He's like, what are we doing here? Like, we have this whole crime situation going on here. But anyway, so Selina tells the thing. She's like, I'm kind of in charge. It's like, basically, all crime is down by 75%, and the major villains are out of play, and I've trained these people to do these things, so I'm asking you to just kind of leave us alone. We're only going to steal from these rich people. But the other crime will be down as a result. So it's kind of like that ridiculous like purge things. Like, it just works. So if you let us steal these things, then surely no other crimes will happen, because apparently the statistics went down 75% because it's just people starving and all that. And then some of the other Bat family members are kind of contemplating this thing, but the only one thinking smartly here is Damian. He's like, these criminals are just going to be better trained when they slink back to their twisted masters. Yeah, he's the only one, like, in Batman, of course, are just like, this is totally insane. You know it's going to backfire. This is Gotham. Shit never works. And of course, this event actually takes place before the current arc in Detective Comics, but the fact that other members of the Bat family are kind of contemplating this just makes them feel kind of dumb. Like, Damian's the only one, along with Batman, kind of thinking logically about this whole situation. Like, does nobody's like, I mean, if you let one crime slide like this, it's going to lead eventually, like, what's to stop criminals from doing other stuff too? That's kind of like the logic Damian, like, Batman are kind of going with in this whole thing. I mean, Batman's family was taken by petty crime, and Selina tries to say, hey, look, my method means, like, you won't have a crime alley situation like we did with you. And then, of course, they get into an argument right there, so it turns to, like, hey, I need you to kind of leave my people alone. I'm going to let them continue to steal. But then it's like, Batman's like, well, what are we supposed to do? Just let this happen? What else is it going to lead to? Like, people are going to get hurt, which ultimately somebody does get hurt in the crossfire of it all. Jason's kind of the other one here who's just like, yeah, I'm going to be on Selina's side. Maybe she finds her hot or something. I don't know. Well, not really, but you'll see what happens with him. And then they get into an argument about this whole situation. Batman's like, targeting one set of people in place of another does not solve anything. And he's right. Totally 100% right. We're fighting it. Do not yell at me, but if we're fighting in front of the kids, here's the most ridiculous part. You're clearly furious because you've wasted your fortune and your brain on back cars and punching people, and it took compassion to solve this problem. Oh my gosh, it's the same crap right here. We never got married because Gotham needed a Batman, and you were all too happy to agree to throw yourself into your mission. No, Selina. As I recall, you're the one who left his ass on the altar. And then she's like, oh, well, we can't do this, Batman. He was ready to marry you, and then you just left his ass. So we wasted all that time, all that buildup, all those tie-ins for nothing. And then him and you, like, kind of were getting together, having your weird hookups while Gotham was being destroyed by Bane and Flashpoint Batman, and Damian had to watch Alfred die. So, no, screw you and all that. Like, let these two fight, if you will. But the fact that other members of the Bat family are sometimes like, oh, well, maybe this isn't too bad. No. You can't be thinking by this ridiculous stuff. Clearly these villains are off, like, maybe planning something or holding off for a while, but it's going to blow up in their face. This is what always happens in Gotham. There was kind of one funny moment where Steph is just like, wow, I really don't like it when mom and dad fight. And Damian's like, she's not my mother. I don't take lessons from criminals. Although technically your family is kind of like on your mom's side is kind of criminals, Damian. But hey, you know what? You kind of rejected that and you're trying to be heroic. So there's that. So yeah, Tim and Bruce kind of get into a little bit of a talk, but he's kind of like, no, there's no reasoning with all of this stuff. Like what's going on with all you? Like, this is, like, you all were victims of crime. Like, I took all of you in to try and stop this thing. He's like, there's nothing to debate about this thing. Like, it's just going to lead to more problems. And he's right. He's 100% right. I'm Team Batman on this whole thing. But you know what? I'm glad that Batman and Catwoman are going to be fighting over this thing. So anyway, so Jason Todd Selina, like, heads back to her place. Like, I'm going to go take a shower. But just as she's in the bathroom, who's there but Jason Todd? And of course, before, like, anything else, like, she immediately gets into a fight. She's like, you followed me here? And then the two of them get into a fight. And then Iko, from the Catwoman run, who also, like, impersonated Selina at one point, gets into the conflict fighting as well. But Jason's like, hey, look, you know this is going to blow up in your face, so you need somebody here on your side for this whole situation. So Jason is going to be on Team Selina in this whole thing, or maybe he's just plotting something else mysteriously behind the scenes. Don't 100% know for sure. But anyway, so Batman starts to think, hey, maybe Selina's right about this whole thing. And then he sees somebody get killed, and that's pretty much enough to kind of set him off for the whole thing. But you also kind of have the Zerana portion taking over, which is like, we're Batman. We got to stop this crime no matter what. So there's kind of hints of it, of the whole thing, like, going on. So we're like, Zerana is kind of taking over a little bit here. So yeah, artwork is good in some instances. There are some character designs that look a little bit iffy. I think Stephanie at times just looks a little bit off the way she's kind of drawn. I don't know. Just, you know, didn't look quite as good as some of the other character designs. But yes, so this one was written by Chip Zdarsky and Tini Howard. So you have two different writers going on here. Now, Tini Howard's kind of hit or miss sometimes. Zdarsky's kind of the same way, because, like, I mean, he's written some good stuff, and I think she wrote things that I've enjoyed too before. But just kind of like the Selina's logic in this whole thing is just, like, feels kind of rather outlandish. And the fact that some members of the Bat family are, like, seemingly going on her side, despite the fact that stuff always goes wrong in Gotham for this thing. And like I said, those statistics of, hey, crime's down 75% without you, Batman. Who's to say that other, like, villains are not off plotting things and just kind of waiting and biding the time for this to blow up in Selina's face? You know what I'm saying? It's not just, you can't just wave a magic wand and it's going to stop within Gotham. I mean, people are just going to keep pushing the envelope, and guess what? Other people are dying as a result. So yeah, I mean, like I said, you can kind of, like, they tries to make the argument for what her side is saying. And yeah, like, maybe some petty crime, maybe there's, like, a small percentage of people that kind of stop doing severe things, so they just need a little bit to get by. But ultimately, it's like, well, you're kind of just letting, like, stuff like this kind of slide and, like, ultimately, like, lead to more crime. So I don't know, but there's some things that are kind of ridiculous about it, like with her logic and the fact that some members of the Bat family are really kind of going on her side, despite the fact that it just sounds like ridiculous kind of logic. And then Selena saying, no, like the reason we didn't get married is because blah, blah, blah. No, Selena, you're the one who left him at the altar, as I recall very clearly. But hey, you know what? What's logic in some of this event? But I will say the plus side, I am excited to see Batman and Catwoman actually into a feud. Yeah, the setup isn't exactly 100% the best, but hey, they're actually going to be at odds with each other and fighting, which, you know what? I'm cool with. Although the solicitations kind of suggest that Selena's going to immediately kind of help him, like the Detective Comics arc that's going on with Ram V. So this arc is apparently set before that current, like, Orkham family and all that stuff. So, you know, Gotham's just going to get brainwashed and crime's just going to go back to normal. So her logic ultimately just is not going to work out, if you will. But I am, like I said, I am glad that they're going to be in conflicts, because I'm just tired of the Batman Catwoman like togetherness and like the will they, won't they, and just the waste of time and all the crazy stuff that's kind of gone down as a result of them trying to like this will they, won't they nonsense. So yeah, let them fight. That's I'm excited about that. So let them be at odds with each other for once. Like kind of move past Batman and Catwoman for a while. Like I said, I used to like it, and then the Rebirth run maybe dislike these two as a couple, and I just want to see them fight for a little bit. So maybe the setup's not the best, and I'm sure some fans won't be happy with these two fighting, but you know what? Let them fight, I say. Yeah, let's go. Like, throw her ass in jail, Batman. Say no to that person. So anyways, so that's all I have to say about this particular issue. Let me know what you thought of it in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications, all that other fun stuff. And as always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. That's right, we're done with 2 issues in, and it's only Tuesday. No 10 issues, no all this other stuff. We're done with the DC comic book stuff for the week, and I'm thankful because it's a nice relief after that ridiculously overblown Night Terrors event. So, although tomorrow there will be a Godzilla comic book, so look forward to all that stuff. All right, see you everyone. Bye-bye.